All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. Was not sure if I could squeeze in a second video, but I'm at least here to look at MULN, MBOT, and PACW. Really quickly, if you watched my last MULN video, I very much said that this was a possibility, and it very much hit. Struggled a little bit more with 81, but yeah, once that 83 alert hit, it was pretty smooth sailing. Honestly, I like this candle a lot more than any of the last ones too. So we'll talk about it. Look, am I bullish? Far from it. I am not. But I'll be honest with you. I think there's a little bit of a realistic chance that this thing actually continues up. I don't know if we're going to break the 20 though. Okay, so we'll get into all those details later. But yeah, for real, I called a double-digit swing, and you know it happened, right? And I'll go over why I called that as well, right? So again, before we go any further, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how this thing is setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this thing, comment good or bad, whatever you can do, it really does help me out. And it's good with the YouTube algorithms, you know what I mean? So look, let's get into it. Let me just back up just a little bit, even before the split, because we've actually been kind of dancing with this thing for a while. So we have been well below the 8 moving average for a good while. And you know, my basic rule is bad things happen under the 8 and the 20, okay? Generally what happens, and I literally said this exact same thing on the last video, right? You fall away from the 8, you come up to the 8. That one obviously goes to the 20. You fall away from the 8, you come up to the 8. You fall away from the 8, you come up to the 8. Fall away, come up, fall away, come up, fall away, come up, right? So again, it seemed like this come up was kind of overdue because yeah, we fall pretty far from the 8 moving average. You know what I mean? And again, I had set my alerts at 81 and 83. And if you watched the last video, I kind of regretted putting that 81. It was 83 that was the money line. And for real, once this thing broke 83 cents, like it was actually very smooth sailing. You know what I mean? Again, though, look, we're still under the 8, but this candle, just kind of looking at the last few attempts, right? This is the biggest, nicest green candle we've seen, honestly, since February. And February is essentially where we lost the 8 moving average. So it's been 1, 2, 3, almost 4 full months before we've seen one good candle. I think that has some weight to it, honestly. You know what I mean? And MACD's looking a little better. RSI's looking a little better. Obviously the best volume in God knows how long. Jesus, man. This is actually the best volume in a really, really long time, actually, right? So definitely not that 700 million, almost a billion shares that we were used to, but you know, nice to see, right? End of the day, what am I looking for tomorrow? Look, the really important line is 104, okay? If this thing can break 104, my next expectation is basically 120 or even 135. All right. And again, those are monster percentages again, right? Will 104 break? Again, I don't think that that's much of a guarantee. Okay. But yeah, if it does, it is actually very smooth sailing almost to this 135 line. Let me go to the weekly. Let's see if there's anything there. Yeah, there's nothing there, right? There's no new lines I can draw. So really the expectation is I'm going to set an alert at 105. 105 would be a really interesting place to potentially average up, actually, because still a lot of room, still a lot of room. If you could break 104, get into that 105, 106, oh, yeah, might want to keep another 30 cents right behind that. You know what I mean? So, MULN, I'm not here saying this is the bottom and things are good. This very much at the minimum is a recovery swing back to the 8. The question is just going to be, can we break the 8? And look, we've broken the 8 once. We've broken the 8 twice, all right? I don't know if we're going to break the 20. I think it's realistic to believe we'll come to this 135. I really don't know if we're going to get over it. It's been a good while under these lines, you know what I mean? But the weekly is pretty much saying 147, right? 174, excuse me, right? Because 174 is where that 8 moving average is. So, interesting things to see here. Nonetheless, hey, I hope you pocketed a little bit of this 20%. I'll tell you, I pocketed a little bit. I did, and I am actually holding a little bit going into tomorrow, hoping that we continue. But for real, if this thing gets anywhere near 85 cents, I'm going to call it a day, right? I'll still bank a little bit of profit on some of those, but yeah, I'm willing to let this thing drop about 10 cents, give or take, to like, you know, kind of flush out what the noise was. So, MULN. PACW, right? Yeah, Pac West Bank Corp. Okay, I'm surprised that we did not make the move. I'll be honest with you. I did start watching this thing when I saw it in the comments. We actually make a nice gap up on the 20, but again, I always say it, right? Knowing the difference between a good day and a bad good day, I think is really, really important, and it's part of my trading strategy. So this was not a good green candle. Obviously, it was a gap up, so I get that it's green, but yeah, we open up here and then we close down here. That's not how it should work, right? We want to open down here and close up there. So I would not call this good confirmation of the 20 break, and I think that's what we're seeing right now, right? RSI is kind of starting to slip a little bit too. End of the day, look, this right here is the money line, right? You can draw it almost anywhere, but basically 10 bucks is the money line. Oops, I think I right clicked to hopefully make a good run up to like 16, right? I think a very fair entry is this 863, 864 range, right? That's what the 50 moving average is. But this right here, this 8 to 10 is going to get pretty noisy. It might not be a bad thing to wait for like 1035 and hopefully run from there, you know? But as of right now, I think the really important key is what happens to 620. Are we going to hold the 8 and the 20 and bounce back up, or are we about to lose this and maybe fall back to this like 5 or worse, right? So yeah, I'm really disappointed that the 20 confirmation was fake, and clearly we didn't even come close to breaking that 50, right? Which again is why I'm kind of saying I think it's going to be hard between this 8 something and 10, because getting over the 50 is going to be no easy accomplishment, you know what I mean? And then from there, there's a lot of plateau happening pretty much at this 10, right? So it's not going as quickly as I think it's expected, but we have filled most of this gap already. The thing came this high. Hell, even if you include the wick, someone filled most of this gap, you know what I mean? So in a lot of ways, this one's been filled. Can't talk about this one yet until $10 breaks, you know what I mean? But again, in my opinion, 50 moving average is going to be king right here, you know? So what does the weekly look like? We're still under the 8 moving average, right? We're obviously trying to make our way up. It looks like the MACD is kind of trying to recover. Obviously, RSI kind of looks like it's recovering. Volume's at least been getting a little better. But yeah, again, I think this thing is saying at least wait for $8, right? The 8 moving average is exactly at 8. And, you know, this thing, what did we say? Was at 830? 860, right? Yeah, again, between 8 and 10, I think might be a little noisy. What's 50% candle here? I think 1070 might be an interesting entry. I'm going to set my alert at 1073. I think that's where I want to know where on this stock. I am more than happy giving up the roughly $4 move from 6 to 10. That's a big percentage, right? But I would for sure love to take the 10 to 60. You get what I'm saying? Just different risk tolerances, risk reward kind of things, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that is my thinking right there on PACW. MBOT. Okay, MBOT looks interesting, actually. It's funny, on the comments, I said this was going to be the really important line, 177. I'm really glad we don't even touch 177, which is pretty badass. I'll be honest with you, I want to know if we get over this. What is that, 216? Yeah, I'll do 217. I'd be really curious here at 217, because look, 8 moving average is going up, 20 is going up. This is starting to look really interesting, actually. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh yeah, this thing was at all-time lows too. There's some interesting things happening here. Look, end of the day, we got to get over the 200 moving average before this thing can really do some silly stuff. I know there was a price target mentioned on the comment when the viewer asked for this. Look, I am not going to talk about anything higher than, sorry, what's the exact number? 350. Literally 350 to the penny is the 200 moving average. That's the highest we can really think right now. Once that 350 breaks, if that 350 breaks, yeah, it looks like it'll actually be a really easy climb up to 460, and then we'll see what happens after 460, right? But this is the biggest line, and look, like I said, I have my alert. I am very curious to see what happens here, right? Because again, RSI is a really good number. It definitely, let me start zooming in just to look. It got really high, started to do a healthy rebound, and it looks like it's ready to kind of go back up. You know, another potential entry is actually right here at 244, 245, right? 245, roughly speaking, that blue line is right at the 50% candle. So 246 is actually a pretty there's no such thing as safe, right? But that would also be a pretty safe entry here. But overall, I'll tell you, I think I'm liking this more of a long-term swing than a short one. Yeah, this is an interesting weekly. We've definitely gapped up, and it came after the doji. It seems like it's trying to say the truth wants us to go up, and really on the weekly, this thing is definitely saying 322 is a realistic possibility. And again, at that point, I would just take 350 as the point. So interesting chart here. And look, I believe I saw when I was just kind of scrolling headlines that there was an offering on this stock. I don't mind offerings that much, okay? I'm a swing trader, right? I like to bank profit. An offering is essentially how a public company banks some profit. You know what I mean? So I don't know the terms of the offering. I didn't really go that deep in it, but yeah, I don't mind an offering. An offering is not a reverse split. A reverse split is a runaway. You know what I mean? So I'm curious here. Actually, I'll be honest. I think I wish I was looking this morning. I would have loved to ride this 11%. But hey, nonetheless, I'm curious for tomorrow, to say the least. So overall, I would say all three are a little positive. I think PACW might have the most work to do, and MULN is all about how it opens tomorrow. You know what I mean? So appreciate your time. Have a great one.